You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, I'm delighted to welcome Kornelia Dengel. Kornelia is a source-guided, transformational, core empowerment coach specializing in emotional processing and mastery in emotional freedom. She is a higher consciousness facilitator in the new paradigm of conscious co-creation, a self-love activist, international speaker, and internet radio host. She is also a certified passion test coach and law of attraction coach and facilitator. Her newest work at the Global Ascension Center is an embodiment of her passion as the new paradigm visionary, a responsible co-creator, and an idea igniter. A new Earth steward, she co-hosts a radio show at the Global Ascension Center, The Juice Bar. I first met Kornelia as a guest on her show with my friend Anelia Bands. So let's welcome Kornelia to the show now. Hi, Kornelia. How are you?
Hi, Lance. How are you?
Hello again.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, it was great to be on your show, too, and I love what you're doing at the Ascension Juice Bar. It's wonderful, wonderful work. I think I wasn't one of the first guests besides Anelia that you had ventured out and had on your show?
Besides Anelia, you were one of the more well-known guests.
Oh, well, thank you. I guess
definitely
that's a compliment.
One of the more well-known, and definitely we had, after you were on, we had so much feedback from people because they could identify with you and with your story and with your life and what you're doing and your role. So the conversation that you and I had was really juicy because we went deep into our pain and, our past. And so that was, it was really helpful for people to be able to identify with that.
Yes, well, that seems to be what's coming up now for so many people. I was going to take this in a little different direction, but now that you've mentioned it, it seems that humanity is starting to move out of its deep sleep and denial and the stuffing of the shadow side. And, of course, your work is to help bring that up and release it, which is, we have to be able to look at our pain in order to use it as a tool for awakening, which is your work on the planet now, yes?
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of this work is a very simple process. This is the part about it is that it's really about identifying what's in front of you and what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about identifying, self-investigating process about what your, per se, sadness is about, or let's just say what your depression is about, or what your loneliness is about, anybody, or what their loss is about, or what the suffering is about. It's about identifying what that is, processing the energy, really sitting with the energy, processing the energy. Once the energy has been acknowledged and felt, you can move on. It's that simple.
Yes, and this is not new stuff, and yet it's new to many people to find out what you had written into your recent blog, that emotion is energy, that through conditioning we get caught up in endless loops of emotions triggering thoughts, and, of course, vice versa. Sometimes our thoughts, which are implants or learned behaviors, things that we picked up from peers, parents, and society, will trigger the emotions. And once the emotion goes, then we're in the loop. And
right.
Many people I know are experiencing this. I have gone in and out of depressions and downward spirals and so on. And you're right. It's a matter of processing the energy so that we can save that energy. What are
so that you can transmute the energy, Lance? Because really, that's what it is. The energy. It's every event in your emotional body is basically neutral. Every event. If you're upset or hurt or about anything on an emotional level, it's always, and always something from your past that wants to be healed, loved, and acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can sit with and identify what the feeling is that is attached to the thought, and most of the time, if you track the energy, it comes down to a core wound. Because basically, it comes down to, we as humanity, there's really only about a handful of core wounds that we all have in common. And those core wounds are shame, betrayal, abandonment, unworthiness, separation from source, and the victim-aggressor. And if you can go into and track that energy to releasing that core wound, that's where the freedom lies, because you want to get back to the place of being neutral.
Absolutely. And our reactions to what appears to be outside of us is the mirror that the universe is holding up for us. And so maybe you could share a bit about how our judgments of others and of the world keep us fragmented and isolated in individual singularities, which are not in touch with our real emotions.
Yeah, I mean, any time that you make a judgment, this would actually be one key tool if people would just do one thing right now, and that would be to release judgment, to set an intention to once and for all be done with judgment, and that starts with judgment of self. and it really goes, again, it's very simple, but we are on information overload. We have so much thrown at us from so many different directions that people are scattered. They don't know where their energy is. They don't know where to begin. They don't really know what to do. They don't have a daily practice. And that's the thing. It's really being able to start with what's right in front of you. And basically, if you start with how you feel, because this is the paradigm that we're moving into. We're moving into the feeling paradigm. We're moving out of the thinking into the feeling, more into the heart, how we're feeling, how we're vibrating, how we're resonating. And basically, if you allow yourself to feel everything, the need to judge anything vanishes. Because most of the time, when you're feeling something, you're upset about it, which then causes you to make a judgment against something. Instead of, if you sit back and say, what am I so upset about right here? Why am I so upset about that they are doing this, or what's going on out there? Or even if it doesn't matter what the judgment is. If you allow yourself to feel that, identify that feeling, and release it, and let it go, and move on. And that's really how simple it is.
What about things that those of us that are truly sensitive? I mean, maybe have vegetarian diets, have lived healthy, have done spiritual practices, are empathic and psychic. What about things that are going on that are just seem to be driving us absolutely insane? I'll give you a couple of examples. For me, a few years ago, it was chemtrails. I would look, if I walked outside and didn't see a blue sky and I saw chemtrails overhead, I had a whole cascade of emotions. How can they do this? We're being poisoned, et cetera, et cetera. So I've worked on that really a lot to release that. And and I still get caught by it once in a while. But I have a friend who has been working on her house in another part of the country for quite a few years, and aggressively to make it truly beautiful and magical. And suddenly, overhead, there's a small airport nearby that's just flying planes constantly all day long, and dogs in the neighborhood that seem to be yapping perpetually. And it just feels like an attack, that there's no peace of mind, there's no science, there's no silence, there's no quiet. How do you deal with something like that, and where does that come from?
Same thing.
Okay.
If I was talking to your friend, and maybe she can listen to the show, I would go into and I would say, okay, what is this about for you? What does this bring up for you? What does this feeling of attack bring up for you?
Uh-huh.
And then she would give me an answer. I feel like I'm being invaded. I've invested all this time putting all this energy into this house to make it so beautiful. It all seems worthless. I feel like, I'm being attacked. Then you sit and you process the energy. See, this is the thing, is that if you don't process the energy, you keep pointing the fingers back out to the outside and making a judgment against, this is wrong, this is what this is. But if you internalize and really take ownership, and I'm a really big advocate of this, taking ownership for how you feel and for everything that shows up in our life. Instead of pointing the fingers outside, look at what this situation is about for you, because you are an infinite creator. You're an infinite being, and nobody else has power over you, no situation, unless you give it power. And if you take your power back by doing the investigation about what is this about, how does this make me feel, and you sit and you process the energy, I guarantee you that the situation will change. It's the same way, Lance, like you said. You've been working with the chemtrails, you've been working with processing the energy for a couple years. And, sometimes it still gets you. So then sometimes that means that there's still some subtle energies left where you're still clearing a little bit, because you're still feeling a little bit of charge about it. Any time when we have any charge about anything, there is a nugget, a golden nugget, waiting there for us to claim it.
Wow. I love that. That's a beautiful metaphor. It's so nice to hear you say that because it removes the stigma of looking at ourselves, which is so crucial to looking at ourselves truthfully and telling ourselves the truth and digging deeper.
That's it.
That's beautiful.
That's it. That's it. So that's why it's like, really, for anyone, for anything that's going on outside of you, anything that you have any charge about, anything that's upsetting to you, sit with the energy, sit down with it, and start processing. People can go to my website. I have a processing technique there. It's free. They just can download it. It's under the article Emotions 101, and they can go get it and start processing, because basically that's what it is that the energy wants to be acknowledged so that you will stop making the judgments. The judgments will stop with your actions on a daily basis. It's like this is the part right now with people having such a hard time at this time, because we have no more room for the middle line. It's the energy is either this or that. There's no more gray area. It's either this or that. And if you're going down the rabbit hole, and if you're feeling bad and you're feeling, everything is falling apart, your vibration is, going down, that's the time to really sit down and really start doing the investigative process, because you're the infinite creator. There's nobody going to save you. There's nobody going to come and do this work for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to take ownership. You have to take the power back.
Absolutely. Yep, that's absolutely right. And then be responsible for each moment, really, for being present in each moment, because it seems to become a moment-by-moment process that when I'm not present, that's when the descending vibrations start rolling, or they can, if I'm not going in the flow.
Yeah. Yep, and when you're not present, that's when the negative, dark energy, whatever you want to call it, has the ability to come in.
Right.
When you're not present and you're not conscious, that's when all of a sudden, that's what Anelia calls an in, where an in can happen, because boom, here comes the energy is in, and the energy is now in, and guess what it's going to do? It's going to go and attach itself to one of your emotional blah, blah, blahs.
Yes, absolutely right.
And then it's going to trigger you, and then next thing you know, you're feeling lack. You feel like you don't have enough. You feel like you're going to run out. You feel like, whatever. And so then what is the most important job right then is to sit down and process. Cancel your appointments. Call in sick to work. There's nothing more important to do than to sit down and process your energy so that you can be in your happy place, in your powerful place, in your feeling good place, so that you can be here now at this most amazing time on the planet as we're building and creating a new paradigm. Because that's, it's really, this is the place we're at right now. 2013, that's what this whole time period, this space we're in now is all about, is focusing our creator consciousness on the new.
Many people were, shall we say, disappointed and let down by 2012. And I know that you have probably talked to a few people that have had some misgivings about the way that we didn't just instantly disappear into another reality, or that things didn't change instantly, and the dark, it was gone. However we all perceive that. So how do you feel it's important for us to focus our energies now, and is it important to not focus on what we perceive the dark side is doing?
Exactly. That's the key right there, because you know what, Lance? I was with you in this whole part about, I was doing some mystical work with the dark energies. I did a lot of different things, and then there was a point where I made a choice. I said, you know what? And this was like sometime in 2011, is really October of 2011. I made a choice that I really wanted to be done with focusing on the dark, because part of it was, and I was really grateful that I had all the wonderful teachers like David Wilcox, who exposed this whole financial thing, David Icke, right, and Lucia Renee, who really, all these people that exposed the dark, Cameron, who was on your show recently, and all these people, Lisa Renee, that work with the reptilians and all that energy. And I was really grateful, because it empowered me to know that it's out there. And then I started working with the energy there too a little bit, but I chose that I really want to focus on the light. And not necessarily even the light, but focusing on the new, focusing on love, like George says, George Kavasalis, your friend, who. What does George say? It's on the inside. It's your heart. It's what you're focusing, what you're bringing out. We have everything that we need, excuse me, on the inside of us, and it's really about bringing that inner light out. The light is here. It's within us. Our physical bodies hold this vibration, and it's absolutely essential now. It's mandatory that the people that are listening to the show, that they take ownership and start focusing their energy on creating the new, because we're so powerful. Our thoughts are so magnetic that if we focus on the dark, we're going to create more of that. We're going to give them power. There's really, we're empowered. We know that it exists. We know what they're doing. We know, that it's the powers that were. We know the main thing is that you process your energy, clear your fears, and create the new, period.
Mm-hmm. So nicely said, Kornelia, because we can't be in fear and love and creativity at the same time.
Thank you.
You know, it's an impossible, it really does boil down to kind of a duality that we can't be, and then similarly, we can't be self-serving and serve others at the same time.
And this is the same way that I want you to think about emotions. The same way about the energy. If you're feeling upset, or you're feeling hurt, or you're feeling sad, the key is to acknowledge the energy, feel the feeling. The energy wants to move. It's energy in motion. It wants to move. So either cry, express it out. You know, I'm feeling sad. I'm upset about this. This is hurting me. But know that as you're doing that you're releasing it. And then once the energy's been acknowledged, because the light and the dark can't exist in the same space at the same time.
Right. And plus, the dark serves the light.
Exactly. The dark serves the light. I mean, so come on. It's like, you know, what a game we're playing here, right? So it's like, come on. Isn't it time now to have fun and focus our energy on high vibration, you know, getting our bodies into a high vibrational place, feeling good? What is it that we want to create? Instead of putting our energy and our focus on what anybody else is doing, clean, you know, get into your own garden and do your thing. And you know, this is the thing. We know what to do. We've had all the teachers out there that have come, that have shown us what to do. We have the tools. It's time to build. You know, we know that the new earth has been birthed, and so we know that the new earth exists. The new paradigm is here. So let's align with that now and start building our future there.
Yes,
from the
absolutely.
now.
Yes, absolutely. For me, it kind of feels as if 2012, the shift from 2012 to 13 was all preparation, and that now here we are in February of 2013, and we're just, you know, reaching into the beginnings of the transformation. And as you said, it starts with us. And we cannot be creating magic if we're worried about what other people think about us or what so-and-so is wearing to the Oscars this year.
Exactly.
And as you know, most of our feelings that where we're hurt or feeling self-pity and the rest of it, that's just our little egos, our little personalized manifesting and wanting to feel special, and we can move out of that ego part of us, that ego aspect that wants to be fed, and once it's processed, then that opens up the space for our essence and our soul to expand into the space and manifest our joy and our bliss. If I'm not mistaken.
No, you said that beautifully.
I
love that. Yeah, and you know, it's the negative wounded ego, right? It's the negative wounded ego, because you know, I really, you know, I heard a lot of spiritual teachers out there say that, you know, we got to get rid of the ego, and I never did resonate with that. I never did agree with that, because my ego, you know, I really started working with my ego. So I would listen to my negative wounded ego scream at me from the top of its lungs, scream at me when I was about to make huge transformational changes, and my ego wanted to protect me and keep me controlled or keep me per se safe and all that. And I would hear my ego say to me, "What about me? Are you crazy? What are you about to do now?" You know? And I would work with my ego in like 3-month increments. I mean, I'm not even kidding. And I said, "Listen, I understand you must be going through huge changes right now. I totally get it, because I mean, you have been running the show this whole time. You know, all my life long, you've been trying to protect me, and now here I am, and I'm asking you, you know, I'm saying, this is how we're going to do this. We're going to totally live on trust. and I can, you know, and you want proof that, you know.
Right.
So, but I've made friends with my ego now, because we, you know, our ego, we need our positive ego to be with us. So
right.
we're not going to be without ego.
Right.
But it's
exactly.
the negative and the positive.
Yes, absolutely. And it can be a servant to, as we are of service to others, or as I like to call it, service to all, which includes us, because it's not about duality, service to self or service to others. We have to put ourselves in the equation, which makes it a triangle, and we include ourselves in service to all, and that includes the dark side. And we're being of service when we do our own inner work, and that's what transforms the macro when we work on the micro.
Right. You know, when I look at the dark side on the outside, and if I just look at any dark side on the outside, you know, at some point, you know, in some incarnation, I was part of that, right? I had some life where I was part of that, you know? And as I incarnated over time and time and time, you know, the soul evolves, right? And so we're here, we're souls, and we're evolving consciousness, we're evolving, we're growing. And so that's why the dark that's out there, you know, you know, when, you know, that's why it's like everyone, it's the free will of all of us, you know, whenever you're ready to choose love and choose the light, then you can. So it's up to us, you know. You know, it's up to each and every one of us to take ownership of ourselves and stop pointing the finger outside, and that's it.
And we kind of touched upon it just a moment ago, but I know that for myself, it's important to listen to the right brain, or the intuitive side, which is termed the feminine side, because it's empathic and it's sensitive and it just knows. And then the left brain will come in with its objections right away. Oh no, that's ridiculous. Don't do that. And many times I've tested this out over and over in little ways when I have an intuition. Well, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And sure enough, I slough it off, and oh boy, I hit my thumb with a hammer. I knew that was going to happen if I did it that way. So I've learned that it's important to follow that with larger things, like especially with driving. You know, when I get an intuition I wouldn't take the right road. You know, let's go left. And what's your experience with that? How do you see that?
I see that as the divine feminine guiding you. Your divine feminine side within you guiding you. And you're intuitively tapped into that listening. You're listening to her. She's saying, turn right here, go here. And then if your masculine side doesn't agree because you just, you know, or whatever, you will go the opposite direction. So it's really the divine masculine within you and the divine feminine within you working in coherence, you know. It's almost like this. It's like the divine masculine in you will say intuitively, I would like to have that house. And the divine masculine in you will say, I'll go get it for you. So because the masculine is about taking action, the feminine is about allowing and listening, listening to that voice.
Nice.
And this is why, like right now, even, you know, a lot of men, this is really challenging for men, because the men have listened more to their left brain, and they're being asked now to listen more to the divine feminine, to the right brain, to that intuitive side within them. And it's really challenging because they're having to trust that part. For women, it's been easier because women are more intuitive anyway. They've always been more intuitive, flowing with the energy. And so this is actually a challenging thing for a lot of men that I find. Like, I work with a lot of men, and I find that this is the part where I'm always guiding them to listen to their divine feminine within, that it's okay, because men have always been, again, taught to be strong, to not listen intuitively because it may be considered weak. They have to have this macho side or whatever, and they have to go and make things happen. They have to push really hard. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I see this going on in society, and I just it's amazing that we've stayed alive this long. When we look at all the wacky things that we're doing to the planet and to ourselves and to each other, I think it's a miracle, given the way we're acting, that we're still alive on the planet today.
It is a miracle. It is a miracle.
It is, and I do feel, and I'm wondering how you feel about this, that as we are sharing ourselves authentically, how that will shift and affect the masses that do follow. The patriarchy is falling apart. It can't maintain itself because it is self-destructive and service to self. So it is starting to crumble, and
we have to be the examples, Lance.
That's right.
We have to be the examples. We have to have physical bodies that are examples of what it looks like to live in the 5D. We have to be the examples that are the living proof people that this is what it's like, so that other people can look at us and go, wow, how are they doing that? Look at these guys. How is it that these guys are so happy? They're so in their joy. They're thriving in their wealth. Everything works out for them. How do you do that?
Yes.
We have to be the examples of that. We have to be the examples, we have to show that's what it is. We have to give other people permission that it's okay, because look, if we're not thriving and we're not happy and we're not congruent with our creatorship, and we're not responsible, then why would anyone out there that's in the 3D environment, if you will, why would they want to leave their job? Why would they want to come and join our playground, if you will, if they see us suffering still? Because there's something not matched. We have to now really be the living examples of creators that are conscious, that are evolving consciousness through intention and focus and love.
Absolutely. And that also means being impeccable and in total integrity and transparent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, being impeccable, I was talking to someone about that the other day. We talk about impeccability a lot because, working with Anelia, this has been a really wonderful journey for me. And somebody was mentioning the other day, about impeccability. And so impeccability is measured in the moment of who you're being in the moment. When you have to make a choice about something, you have to make a choice about something, and then you are the watcher. You're the one that gets to choose whether you're impeccable or not, because really, it's like I told this person, I said, Anelia is going to but Anelia is going to see you being impeccable all the time. That's how she's going to see you. She's going to see you being impeccable, and it's up to you, whatever you're going to do in the moment, whether you're going to show up and be impeccable in it through the choice that you're going to make, because that's the bottom line, and you being the authority and you being your own watcher in it.
you brought up Anelia, and the juice bar is kind of a. Maybe you could explain the relationship with Anelia and how you met her and how the juice bar came about. I think that might be kind of fun to explore if you'd like to do that.
Sure. So, do you remember when Amelia sent out that initial call, the initial email went out, I think in a newsletter or something, that said that she was asked by Source to ignite and establish the Global Ascension Center in California.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when that email came out, I think that was in the beginning of 2012. I think it was like in January of 2012. And I had met Anelia just like the rest of us did with initially, met her, heard of her through the Bill Ryan interview that came out in early 2011.
Right, that's right.
And I knew when I first watched the video of Anelia initially, it took me 7 times to literally watch that video all the way through without going to sleep, because on a subconscious level, the clearing that was taking place to really, really get everything that she was saying, I was in such resonance with her message that it took me 7 times to really watch the whole thing all the way through.
Wow.
And like 6 months later, I had said out loud to the universe, I said, when the time comes, I would love to work with Amelia Benz on the front lines. I said I would love to work with her. I would love to be on the front lines because I was just in such, I want to work with her and I want to be on the front lines with her. And so then, shortly thereafter, 6 months later, that email went out, and I saw it. And immediately, from that moment, from when I saw it, I immediately contacted her. And without even thinking about it, Lance, it was like my ego never even had a chance to tell me, no, you can't contact Amelia Benz. Who do you think you are? You're not worthy. You're not good enough. You can't do this. I never even had a chance to even go there, and so I immediately contacted her, and she contacted me back right away.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was like really shocked because I was like, oh my gosh, and we set up an appointment via Skype, and I had it all figured out, what I was going to say to her, what I wanted to do, and everything. And she says, so tell me about your life, right?
Yeah.
She says, so tell me about your life. And I'm thinking, really? You have time to hear about my life? Really? So we sat there the whole hour, hour and a half, whatever it was, and I was telling her about my life. And we never even really got into the Global Ascension Center, conversation. And then, just about when we were done, I told her that I really wanted to, that I knew that I was meant to work on this project with her. And she asked me point blank, she says, what is it that you want to contribute? What is it that you want to bring? And then I said, well, whatever you need, let's just get it done. Whatever you need, let's just do it. Mm-hmm. And she said, no, that's really not how it's done. It's really about what you want to contribute, what you want to bring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't understand that. And I said, well, I had not looked at it that way. Would it be all right if I meditated on that and contacted you back when I get the answer so that I know what it is that I want to contribute?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so then that took like 2 weeks, and I contacted her back after that and told her that I know what it is. And we set up another Skype, and I told her that I wanted to assist with the bringing in the prosperity, bringing in the funding for the Global Ascension Center, raising awareness around the world, and being on that team. And so from that point forward, we were working together creating the website, and then, of course, other people joined in on the team, and and so that's pretty much how that happened. And the juice bar was actually Anelia's idea, that it would be great if we had a juice bar, radio program, so that we can start communicating and having a platform for us to talk about the virtual community and really invite others to come in and play with us.
Well, it's so funny because I had a similar experience when I watched that particular interview you mentioned. And when I started listening to her, I was simply blown away by her being. And I felt, this is how I often find guests, is I will stumble across somebody like the fool in the tarot deck, and I just have a strong resonance and feel that they're telling the truth. And so she had mentioned that she had pursued Bill to work with him, and I thought to myself, I have to have her on my radio show. No matter what happens, I have to meet this person. And so I did invite her on the show, and I didn't know that we were going to get to know each other and travel together and become friends, since she lives so close to me. So, and Bill Ryan and Carrie Cassidy had been my third guest about 6 years ago on my first radio show. So everything is interconnected and entangled. But I am so thrilled that we're all working together now, because it's, as you said in your blog, it's about collaborating. Through collaboration, we are stronger together. And your blog is on your website, which, let's get that out into the air too. It's KorneliaDengel.com, and we'll mention it again at the end of the show. I want to make sure that people can find you and subscribe to your blog.
That's very great. Thank you.
Yeah, and now you also, she's starting to do things, and you went up to Washington for a retreat. That was just recent. What was that like?
Oh my God, Lance! It was a love fest. It was a love fest. It was the most amazing thing. It was awesome. So what it was actually my idea.
Great.
And Anelia, Marianne, and myself, we were the founders behind doing the retreat.
Oh, cool.
And so it was intentionally created because we knew that the end of 2012 was going to come, and that people were going to be left feeling like, now what? Now what do we do? And so we talked about that. Having a retreat in January that's going to ignite and really empower people to go on and create through conscious co-creation in community and connection and unity. And so we organized the retreat, and we had a virtual retreat where it was filmed live, and I think there was over 300 people that participated in the event through the virtual retreat. And what was so amazing is that the virtual retreat community, people all over the world, were included and felt connected with us while we did the retreat. And that was really important to us, because we wanted to make sure that they too got the value of what it is that we were doing. And what it is that we did is we seeded the new paradigm with our intentions, what it is that we wanted to create. And so it was just an amazing, all the people that came, all the players that came, they were all called to be there. We had, I think it was 40 people, including the hosts. And it was an amazing experience, and it was so well received. We received hundreds of testimonies from people from around the world about how their lives were transformed, that they're not the same people that they were when we started this retreat. So we're having another one in May. And I invited you, Lance, to come up and be a presenter, because I know some of the work that you do, the healing work that you do. And I would really love it, Lance, if you would really consider and come up and engage with us and co-create with us, and then go back to the community, go back to your community to recommit and duplicate. And that would be awesome.
I would love to. So I'm intending to do that. So you have my intention. That's basically, as I see it, when the universe rolls out its royal red carpet, we can have eyes and see it, or we can, kind of look the other way and see something that takes effort. But when we accept things, when we say yes, I can do this, and go forward, that's how we step into our own authenticity. And
absolutely.
I think there's a lesson for people who hear people talking on the radio and think, oh, those people are so far removed from me, and what am I? I'm just a little person. Maybe you can address how people can step into their own power and do this stuff. I'm just a normal person. I just said yes 6 years ago when somebody from the station, BBS, asked me if I wanted to do a radio show. Had I said no, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what I was going to do or how it's done. I had to just kind of wing it. And isn't that kind of fun?
It is kind of fun. And really, you know what? That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm winging everything. Are you kidding me? Seriously.
I love it.
It's like, when I first started the Juice Bar with the Global Ascension Center, I had never done an internet radio show before. And since that time, I have also another show called Expressing You, and it's practical tools for living in wholeness. It's a show for men and women where we really process our emotions and our feelings, and it's really about winging it, and it's about not making it. It doesn't have to be perfect, because through the expression of energy, that's what it is, allowing life force to express through you. I love being with people. I love connecting with people. I love to inspire people. I love to uplift people. I love to share my joy. I love to share the wisdom, the tools, and everything that we've gained. And so how do I want to do that? And that's through creating these various different platforms. But there's nobody that's telling me this is how you have to do it, or this is how it's done. I just go into it, and I do the best I can. I do the best in the moment. And there's times where I feel like, oh, I wish I would have done this a little bit different, but that's okay, because who cares?
Right. Right.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Right. That's right. That's right. That's well said, I must say.
At the end of the day, it's just all about, playing, having fun, and, expressing yourself and doing it. And as long as your intention, just like my intention tonight for this show was just to inspire, ignite, have a juicy conversation with you. And I really, that's what I do. I don't really engage in things unless I put my intention behind it. So then all I need to do is just align with it and do the best I can. And pretty much that's it. And if it turns out to be that, this wasn't, or I could have done this better or whatever, then that's fine. That's how we grow. That's how we learn.
Is there anything, Kornelia, that you feel is really important that you wanted to share tonight that you would like to now?
Oh, wow. Yes, I would really like to talk about, and I think we've already touched on this, but really identify what's in front of you and start there. Get your energy into the present moment. Tomorrow morning, start there, and really look what's there, and really take ownership that you are an infinite creator. All the people I know that are listening to this show, they're ready for this. They're ready really to take ownership and create what it is that they're here to create, what it is that they want to create, how it is that they want to express their energy. But you have to do that from a happy place. You have to do that from a feeling good place, from a high vibrational place. And so if you're not in that space, clear the energy. There's only two things to do. Clear the energy. That's either feel your feelings or process your fears. And once that's done, the other thing to do is to create. And what is it that you want to create? What do you want? Because the thing is, Lance, we all want the same thing.
That's
we
right.
all want amazing relationships. We all want to be able to have work and creativity that we flourish and thrive in. We all want wealth and abundance that we can enjoy and thrive and share with each other. And we all want to be out with our beloved Gaia, enjoying her beauty. We all want the same thing. Let's focus on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as we light up as lighthouses individually that are conscious and awake and in the moment, then we attract others of like vibration, and that forms a kind of network, a light network, which completely supersedes any grids that are here and the need for grid work. We create our own grid and we overwrite it with the brightest of lights because that's who we are. We're not the victims. We're not at the bottom of the. We're not the sludge at the bottom. We are actually the divine light embodied, and we simply need to remember that. And the illusion is that there are these powerful forces, and the Wizard of Oz just needed the curtain to be pulled back by a little dog, and oh, I'm the great, and oh yes, well, I was using technology to fool y'all, and so just remember when you see that seemingly powerful, inconquerable force that controls the world, it is not that. It's just an illusion, and it's done with smoke and mirrors. I had something happen tonight, and I just wanted to share this with you because it kind of helps, talks about emotional clearing. I wanted to have a real fireside chat, so I started a fire with cedar, and I have a Jack Russell Terrier, and the fire was started, and it's still burning, and I couldn't understand why she was so frightened. She was shaking, and she came over, and she wouldn't leave me, and then I realized the fire, the popping from the cedar, reminded her, I got it, of when she was a little puppy, they had guns, and they would shoot the guns, and so she equated the fire, so I had to reassure her. And so this is what we have to do with each other and with ourselves, that, loud noises are not dangerous. That, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. And I thought, Lance, that's a good tool for you to use on yourself. The next time you have some imaginary fears or fears that seem like it's really dangerous and threatening, just remember, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no place like home.
That's it, Lance. And, and like you did that inner investigative process, you had the dialogue, you went into it, and you said, what is this? And it all came to you. What it was, you became your own authority in it. There wasn't anyone that you went to the outside and said, what is this? You came to it yourself. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what this whole thing is about. And us reminding each other that really is it. It's, the light is here. The light is here. It's here now. We did our job. We've done it. We have done it. There is nothing to do now but evolve consciousness. It's here, And if you that's it. There's nothing else to do but to evolve consciousness and create. There's nothing to be afraid of. And like you said earlier about the sensitive piece, I wanted to bring that back up again.
Okay, good.
when you were talking about, really being sensitive, I thought about that for myself, too, because I'm really sensitive, too. I'm super sensitive because I'm really strong. I'm also really strong. And I know that when I'm really sensitive that I need to take extra care of me. And whenever I do emotional processing or whatever, and if I'm experiencing something where I'm really sensitive, then I make space for that. There's nothing more important than doing that. Just like then I nurture myself. That's what self-love is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the loving thing, if we can't love ourselves, then it's all over as far as relationships or loving other people. It all starts from within and radiates out, like you said. And that was one of the first times I had heard that when George was. I started reading George's work and had him on the show, and he's coming back again in about a month. About bringing your light out, that the light is within, and people who meditate are going out looking for it and bringing in artificial light. And he said we have to be careful about what light it is that we're identifying with and allowing and bringing into ourselves. So there's a little more.
George was a key role in my transformational. He was one of those beings that came in for me. That he said some few key points that severely disturbed me when I first heard them because I was very confused. My mind was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" But it resonated. It resonated so deeply, and he really his message really empowered me, and I'm my own authority, and that's the other piece is that. It's like George said, do it yourself. Do it yourself. Stop giving your power away to Archangel Michael and all the other Archangel Michaels that are imposters. That it's great to have. We know that angelics and all the elementals and everybody's there to help us, but really empower yourself and do it yourself instead of seeking it outside of yourself from someone else.
Absolutely. Wow, beautifully said. Well, Kornelia, we're just about out of time, and I want you to have a moment to share your websites with us so people will know where to find you.
Absolutely. So it's Kornelia Dengel, DENGEL.com, and if also I want to just invite people that if they want to co-create with us at the Global Ascension Center, they can also go to globalascensioncenter.com. And they can find us there. And anyone that is interested in possibly coming to our retreat in May, it's going to be another one of the off-the-charts, amazing, empowering events. So I look forward to you, Lance, being there. And from the bottom and the top of my heart and the middle of my heart, thank you so much for having me on and for the work that you do. And it's been a real delight.
Oh, me too, Kornelia. I just love you. So
Thank you.
It's just such a delight talking to you, and I really get you, and you are just a most juicy, wonderful, delightful being.
Thank you so much, Lance, and I look forward to seeing you in a few months.
Yes, all righty. It's a date.
Okay.
All right. Good night, Kornelia, and good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. Good night.